Okay, question for you. Is this the best World Cup since the last World Cup? Yeah, I'm gonna say that's a resounding yes. And today might have been the best day, so let's get right into it after I say a little something to everyone who offered their vocal support in the comments after yesterday's video. I definitely was not looking to trigger all of the positivity by what I said, but you guys are big time for taking the time to do it anyway, so thank you. It means a lot. And now, let's do this. It's the very curious news from around Group C and F of the Amazing Conrad video. Very curious news, Adam. Number one, the Germans are out. The Germans are out. The World Cup gods have spoken, and the Germans are out. And guess what? They deserve to be out. The defending champions got outplayed by Mexico. Then they got very fortunate to beat Sweden with 10 men. And then they just didn't have that extra something special to beat a bang average South Korea team with the above average goalkeeper. And well, I guess South Korea were bang average for most of the game until injury time when they scored 2 goals off an assist by Toni Kroos. Well played, Tony. And the other one being handed to them by their sweeper, keeper, striker, defensive midfielder, Manuel Neuer, since that's what he likes to do towards the end of the game. But whatever to those 2 plays in particular, because the German problems were much bigger than this, and here's how I'm ranking them. 1, Timo Werner and Mario Gomez weren't good enough up top. Now, there is no doubt they're both very talented players, but they didn't seem like real threats around goal, if you know what I mean, which gets me to the real point of what I'm trying to say, and that is this. Germany missed Miroslav Klose, someone with legitimate presence in the box who capitalized on half chances his whole career and turned them into goals. That was his special gift. Now, if Werner and Gomez had scored timely goals or any goals, then the rest of the list after this would have been different. But since they didn't, let's get to number 2. And that is who else they missed: Philipp Lahm and Bastian Schweinsteiger, the true leaders of the World Cup winning side in 2014, because I'm not really sure who the leaders are on this current side. And honestly, for me, Manuel Neuer doesn't count because he's not involved in every play, which is why I would never choose my goalkeeper to be captain. And then finally, it's number 3. They got complacent and they got too relaxed. They thought they could just flip a switch and play well whenever they wanted, and that starts with their manager, Jogi Löw. So maybe he should have went with the hungry, younger players who won him the Confederations Cup the summer before, instead of sticking with the older guys that maybe aren't as hungry because they have their bellies full, because they've won everything already, right? They've got nothing left to prove. I mean, if I won a World Cup, I'd be like, yeah, I did it. Why do I need to do it again? I did it. You saw it, right? You know? So I don't know. It's, I don't know why that infects players in that way, but I know it's a real thing. Now, whether you agree with the order or not, or if you have your own ideas about why Germany failed, you can't change the fact that for the first time in their history, the Germans didn't get out of the group stages, which has to be an embarrassment of the highest order, just like my predictions for the group. And your predictions too. Everybody had Germany going through, so no stickers for anybody. Also, isn't it crazy how much things and perception can change in just 4 years? I mean, in 2014, on top of the world, 2018, national embarrassment. Anyway, it's time for very curious news item number 2. Sweden wins the real group of death. Until tomorrow, that is, when Group H plays, because that's the real group of death, if only because all of the teams in Group H feel so even. However, Sweden was what made Group F a group of death because no one expected them to do anything. They had no superstar like Zlatan. Instead, they only had a captain who looks like he should be my dad, one game changer in Emil Forsberg, and a bunch of hard workers. So for them to overcome their bitter last-minute defeat to Germany and then put on a tactical masterclass in a must-win game, which they did convincingly 3-0 against one of the hottest teams in the tournament and against one of the most tactical and overly prepared coaches in the whole entire world in Mexico's Juan Carlos Osorio, well, it just speaks volumes of the character of this Swedish team, and I bow down to them for their mentality. It's just great to see. And now they get to play the Swiss in the next round. And if they get past them, it could be Senegal or England after that, and I think they could beat either one of those squads. So I mean, could you imagine Sweden in the semifinals? Sweden in the semifinals. That would just be... But this is the craziest World Cup I've ever seen, and for whatever reason, it feels like someone new is going to win it. Someone who's never won it before, though I'm still going to ride or die with who I picked 6 months ago in my original preview, and that's Brazil, who are coming up in very curious news item number 3. Brazil do what Brazil does, and that's win World Cup games. And their group, the tricky Group E, which probably turned out to be a little harder than they were expecting, though they somehow figured out a way to be on top like they always do with a comprehensive 3-0 win over Serbia today. Well, here's a few notes that I made about them as I was watching. So let's see if you agree. And the first one is, like Uruguay, they seem to have gotten better with each passing game. And again, like Uruguay, their attack seems to be finding its feet at just the right time. And the second thing that I've noticed is that Coutinho has emerged as the guy that Brazil's attack is truly running through, which was highlighted by his great pass to Paulinho on Brazil's first goal today. And as a result of the attack running through him, he seems to have become the steady leader of the group, which, as it turns out, makes him a nice balance to the emotional Neymar. And then lastly, imagine being so good in all areas of the field that when the top left back in the world, Marcelo, hurts his back 10 minutes in and has to come off, you can slot in another world-class left back in Filipe Luis to take his place, which speaks volumes of the talent in the squad and makes me feel quite confident still with my prediction of them winning it all. Go on, Brazil. Very curious news item number 4. It looks like Mexico's run of losing in the round of 16 is gonna continue. Because you got Brazil next to me goes, ja, 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 no mames, way, no se puede. Which, in all seriousness, since I'm just giving my Mexican friends a hard time, this was such a mierda draw for you guys. You had been one of the best teams of the tournament after getting 6 points from 2 games, including beating the defending champions, Germany. Then you got slightly embarrassed by Sweden today. Then you needed South Korea's help to even qualify for the knockout rounds. And then you pulled Brazil in the round of 16. So, Dios mío. Como se dice, you guys are in trouble. Very curious news item number 5. This is for the Swiss, who, much like during their qualifying campaign, were tough to beat, and they were tough to beat again today when they found a way to get another result, this time a 2-2 draw, which, despite any issues that you might have with the penalty call at the end, which led to the best own goal of all time if you didn't get to see it, the penalty hit off the crossbar, came down, hit the goalkeeper in the head, and went in. I thought the 2-2 result was fair. So, the Swiss finished with 2 draws and a win, which is good for second place overall in the group. And then a fun fact for you, this is the 4th time that they've qualified out of the group in their 5 World Cup appearances. That's pretty good. And I'm jealous of that as an American. Also, they got a date with Sweden in the round of 16, which they have to think is winnable. However, 2 of their most important defensive players, right back and captain Steven Lichtsteiner and center back Fabian Schär, both picked up yellow cards due to accumulation. So they're going to be out in the next round, which could prove to be very costly. And all right, that is it. But now it is your turn. What is next for Germany? What do you think? Or will they be fine once the manager starts playing the younger players that he should have played this time around? Also, can Sweden make the semifinals? Like really? Like really, really? And finally, how many goals is Brazil gonna beat Mexico by? I'm gonna say dos. So let me know your thoughts. Keep hitting that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll check you guys tomorrow. Later.